Hi guys, it's Katie Bishop with PrairiErth Farm, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite all-time fall vegetables, celeriac. So celeriac is sometimes also known as celery root, and the way that I like to describe it to my customers at the farmer's market is this is actually the stalk of the celery plant, and then down below this is the celery root. But this is a kind of a celery that's not grown so much for its tops, but more for its root, because this is where all the flavor and yummy goodness is. So celery root is an extremely ugly looking vegetable. And I think a lot of people have no idea what to do with this when they get it home. So I'm going to talk about a couple different things. I'm going to start with why I love this vegetable so much. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get it ready to cook or eat raw. And I'll also discuss some of my favorite things to do with it. So first of all, I love celery. And celery in the Midwest is hard for us to grow. And so this is a great way to get local celery in some parts of the country where you can't actually get celery. So the other great thing about celery that I love is that celery root lasts a really long time. So when you get home with your celery after you buy it, the first thing that you want to do is take the tops off. Now, the root with the tops off, left in the refrigerator in a bag, will actually last months and months and months. So you can buy this at the farmer's market in, say, September or October and still be enjoying it in January, which is pretty cool. But if you don't take the tops off, that won't happen. So make sure you take those tops off. So the tops are in and of itself a completely special treat as well. So these have an extremely strong celery flavor. If you love celery, then you really need to make sure you use these tops. I like to add them to soups or stews. Sometimes I'll dice the stems up and put them in chicken salad or egg salad or tuna salad for that celery crunch. But this is a pretty intense celery flavor, so you can't expect this to be like you would get celery at the store where you're dipping it into peanut butter. I wouldn't recommend that. But you can definitely cook with this and you're going to get that intense celery flavor that you really, really love. So the tops are definitely usable if you can get celery root with the tops. Now later on in the winter, we'll just have celery in its root form without the tops, but this is the prize, my friends. So celery root, once you peel it and take all that gnarly, messy, rooty bottoms to it, you get pieces that look like this, almost like a potato or a turnip. Now this will turn brown pretty quickly left out into the air. So one of the things I like to do if I'm not going to use it immediately, or if I'm going to be eating them raw, I'll put it in a bowl of water with some lemon juice, and that will help it from turning brown, similar like what you would do with an apple. Anyway, so you can go ahead and you can just eat this raw. It has a really light celery flavor. It's crunchy. Kind of like eating a radish, really. But my favorite thing to do is to cook these. Some of my favorite things to do with these, I have a long list, so I'm going to have to try and keep this short, but some of my favorite things to do with these is when I'm making mashed potatoes and I'm boiling my potatoes, I will peel and cube a few pieces of celeriac and I'll toss that in the pot too and let that boil with the potatoes. And then when it's time, I'll puree it or mash it all up together, and it lends this really delicious savory depth to the mashed potatoes. It doesn't taste like celery, but you can definitely tell it amps up your mashed potatoes a bunch. There's some other really great recipes for things to do with celeriac. It's really great just roasted with other vegetables. You can also chop this up and put it as the base for your soup. So anything you use celery for in your soup, you can also just use celery root. There's so many wonderful things. Just boiling it and pureeing it all on its own with a little bit of butter is delicious. There's a bunch of places where you can go to get some recipes. I first found out about celery root and how to prepare it from one of my favorite TV show cooks, Ina Garten, she's the Barefoot Contessa. She has some great ideas too. You can Google that. So there's this wonderful book called The Flavor Bible that I love, and you can pick just about any type of vegetable, herb, spice, fruit, you name it. And it will tell you not only the other types of foods that taste really good with it, but it also gives you some recipes too. So this is kind of a fun book to use for courageous, adventurous cooks. But then also pick up a copy of my cookbook. It's the PrairiErth Farm cookbook. It'll tell you how to store celeriac, how to preserve it, how to and then how to prepare it as well with some recipes. So this is a good item for you to pick up. Well, lastly, I'm just going to show you how to cut the celery root, because this is the part that is a little tricky for some people. So you don't want to eat this or cook it with the skin on. It's very, very tough. So first what you want to do is have a solid working surface. So what I'm going to do is take my knife, my sharp knife, and I'm going to cut this rooty bit off. You can see there's really not much going on in there. So I'm going to cut that off. Now I have a surface in which I can work. So I'm going to set that down, and then with my sharp knife, I'm just going to peel the outside of it. So you start to get the skin taken off. As a side note, what you can do with all of these bits, the skin, that rooty stem, the tops if you aren't going to use them fresh, is this all with some onions and garlic and carrots makes an incredible either vegetable or chicken stock. So you can use this to stick them in the refrigerator or the freezer until you're going to use it later, and use this for that celery flavor. Oh, it's free, it's easy. So I'm just going to keep peeling this. What you've got left is just this root, and you're just going to chop it and cube it into pieces like you would a potato. So you can either boil these or roast them, you can saute them, whatever you do, just get some celery root and give it a try. You won't be disappointed in how great the flavor is. And even if you're not a huge celery fan, this isn't super strong celery flavor, and it actually is a really great accompaniment to other dishes. So I can't recommend enough that you give celeriac a try. Thanks, we'll see you at the farmer's market this weekend. Bye.